I do, you bitches got a problem with it. Carry on. I take a shit, you got a problem with it. Carry on. Hey, you make it like it's about dude. You know it ain't about that. You know what the fuck you did, nigga. I don't hate you. You Muslim. But I'ma show you how great I am. For the record, I am Muslim first. Where should I begin? I'm a general. I'm one of the men. ADPSN. I'm hospitable. Respect the grid, but we cannot be friends. Social media, I'm not promoting criminal intent. Big spinner, get the business deal when killer get consent. Whoever play don't want they family members. I'ma set a trend. Bow my head and say, astaghfirullah, forgive me for my sins. F-250, drop my hair, cut off and whip up in a Benz. Downtown, Night Ward, Alabama, Russia Blade. Big Chief, send them things. Bread want a gunner game. New Infinity and Gunner Face. How we discussing things. Pimpin' Night Ward did it, gon' have another sun to raise. Niggas started acting like Big Brass ain't the truth out here. I done caught a body if a nigga want some proof out here. Southside, Baton Rouge, standing up on Grand Street. Standing up on 12th Street, Big London package hand me. With Butch and Auto Evergreen. Standing up on Taft Street. Sold dope on Murder Street. St. Joseph, Abbott Street. Creighton Stewart, middle of the drought and he ain't texting me. Carolina Street supplying pressure, you can ask for me. Stroke Great Monte Carlo, hustle till my lungs collapse on me. Garfield Street, ex Big Boy, George 24, Zippoline. B.O.N., I'm a big old nigga with that Mac on me. Zappa hard 15 on our way in a rack of piece. They shot me down, broke my bone in half, it ain't no jacking me. Hospital leg pad, DJ scale, dope in them bands on me. Shout out to God, no bodyguard, want my head, he had plans for me. I was on my ass doing bad and dope boy had grab for me. All I blew them stacks, paid them back and see Newman grab for me. Bone like my hustle, I muscle, free agent drafted me. Honda car with Drinker moved discreetly with that strap on me. Accidentally turned down. Oakland, Cali sack on me. Fucking with the plug daughter, mama put that pack on me. No fire ton, no metal box, I'm coming with the stamp on me. Leaving Hammond with what's his name, sleeping, spilling act on me. Solo, I feel gangster reason presence in the back of me. I Walita spirit got the godmother backing me. Nigga murdered Mizey, I was gone, that shit had damaged me. Bodega Bams will tell you in New York that I got handling. Big Jigga tell you if I love you, anything you ask of me. Breadwinner, brave heart, ain't tripping about no brave team. Stalking, trying to choke something, ain't sticking like no Beijing. Curve boy, Trey, you know these niggas out here. Want me to suffer, melt my butter up and hot potato bake meal and killer. Listen, you hop in the streets, you know a lot gon' change. When you a Gates, it's in your DNA, so you are not gon' change. Protect your sister, know what you believe, you gotta die this way. Once you go to jail, expect your bitch to play a lot of games. Even your clique, respect the way you build, a lot of not the same. Never rat, always mind the business, that's the plan away. You a good friend, remember, you not friendly, you don't ride the way. Respect yourself and everything around you, we not trying to play. He who try, ain't no doubt about it, diving in his face. No surrender, no retreat, reply, bitch, you won't die today. Represent your tribe with your actions and your body language. Upright, independent feelings, moving with all types of angels. 9,000 miles due east where the holy conversation. Muslim makes a lot, this all we got, you take your time with praying. Upright, independent feelings, praises go to my creator. Upright, independent feelings, we having a lot of paper. Upright, independent feelings, even if my body's thinking. What else?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, once again, as always, Miguel Magallon! And as always, President, Founder, CEO of Magallon Entertainment! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the one, the only, the motherfucking general, Magallon Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. The general is back in the building. The general is back on the battlefield. And the general just came back from the motherfucking trenches. Ladies and gentlemen, I just witnessed Jay Powell give the speech that the entire market needed to hear. I just heard the Federal Reserve come out and tell the world what they needed to know. I just saw this fucking government come out and tell all of the bitch-ass motherfucking bulls across the country and around the motherfucking world that they are fucking coming for you. And they will not stop until every last bull is fucking dead and buried. And they will not stop hunting They will not stop attacking. They will not stop chasing you. They will not stop gunning you down. And they will not stop until they have murdered every last fucking bull on Wall Street. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Reserve once again reminded you, reminded me, reminded the country, and reminded the fucking world. They are not fucking stopping! They will only continue to pull the motherfucking trigger. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm going to tell you what the Federal Reserve did. Tonight I'm going to tell you what the Federal Reserve said. And then I'm going to tell you what the Federal Reserve will continue to do. I will tell you what I see happening in this economy, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the economy next. Just like I told you in April, just like I told you in May, just like I told you in June, just like I told you in July, just like I told you in August, just like I told you in September. Even though people refuse to listen, people refuse to believe me, people refuse to just acknowledge the motherfucking truth that the average American is experiencing a motherfucking recession. They didn't believe me back then. They don't want to believe me now. But hopefully, as things continue to get worse and worse and worse, maybe one day people will just fucking admit it, that this economy is collapsing. This economy is crashing. And the average American is getting absolutely fucking destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to learn. Prepare to get fucking educated. Prepare to hear some things that are going to blow your fucking mind. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, you know what time it is on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, get the pen in the pad, get the pen in the pad, get the pen and the motherfucking pad! And let us begin to fucking get educated. So, Federal Reserve came out, Mr. Jay Powell himself, Chief of the Federal Reserve, right? He comes out, ladies and gentlemen, and, they raise interest rates yet again. Let me start here. Let me start real here, okay? Because there's a lot of bulls who listen to this podcast. There's a lot of bulls who love this podcast, even though they disagree with me. There's a lot of bulls that still believe, don't ask me how, America, don't ask me how, these fucking bobbles. But there's a lot of fucking bulls out there that believe the economy is strong. They believe the economy is fine. They believe everything is fine. They believe that, things aren't that bad. They believe this is just a slowdown. This is just a softening. And that, things are going to, maybe they slow down a little, but they're not going to slow down that much. It's not going to be that bad, Miguel. You're overreacting. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And I'm like, bitch, you been to Walmart lately? Bitch, you been to Costco lately? Bitch, you been anywhere in this economy lately? Because it looks fucking bad. But don't worry. No. The bulls, they didn't want to believe me in April. The bulls didn't want to believe me in May. The bulls didn't want to believe me in June and July. And now here we are, September, October, November, December, and then I look at their bank accounts, and then I can see the truth. And the truth is, average Americans are getting slaughtered every single day in this economy. But with that being said, right, the bulls would have you believe that the economy's fine, the economy's not that bad, that GDP is still positive, right? And that, things are going to slow down a little bit and continue to slow down. But it's just a softening. It's just a correction. It's just, going back to the way things were, going back to normal, Miguel. That's all it is, okay? It's just a correction, just a softening, just a little bit of a slowdown. That's all it is, just a slowdown. Okay, sure. Your bank account says otherwise. But okay, sure. And they are of the belief that the Federal Reserve is in the near future going to pause or pivot, that they don't need to raise interest rates that much anymore, and that they've accomplished their mission, and that things are just going to get better from here. And what Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve did today is they raised interest rates again. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And on their press conference about half an hour ago, and I watched the entire thing. I listened to the entire Q&A, and they basically came out and told every reporter, every analyst, every economist in the country and around the world that even though they're slowing down the size of the rate hikes. So instead of doing 75 basis point rate hikes over and over and over and over and over again, even though it doesn't actually solve it doesn't solve the root cause of inflation, which I told you guys about over and over again at the top of my fucking lungs. And I try to tell you that they're going to continue to raise interest rates, despite the fact that raising interest rates isn't actually solving the root cause of inflation. Because at the end of the day, they can't actually solve the root cause of inflation. So all they're really doing is just hurting people, destroying this economy, destroying people's portfolios, destroying their bank accounts, destroying their jobs, destroying sectors and industries across the country, and making it harder for everyone else. But they're not actually, fixing what's causing inflation to begin with, because they don't have the power to fix the root cause of inflation. Again, we're also going to talk about that in a minute. But the point is, they've been raising interest rates over and over again, 75 basis points here, 75 basis points there, 75 basis points over here, 75 basis points over there. And now they're saying, you know what? It looks like inflation's coming down a little, which is going to be also what we're going to talk about. We have a lot of things to talk about tonight. But they basically say, inflation's starting to come down a little bit, especially after yesterday's inflation report, the CPI numbers. Inflation's starting to come down. Things are getting cheaper. All right. You guys seen the price of gas prices lately? Yeah, look at them gas prices coming down. All right. We told y'all, we got this. We know what we doing. Just sit down and shut the fuck up. We know what we doing. Me and the Biden administration, we got this. I'm scared. We got this. You've seen gas prices, right? Gas prices coming down real hard now. Yeah, I don't hear anybody complaining about gas prices. I don't hear nobody fucking complaining about gas prices today. All right. Yeah. So they acknowledge some parts of inflation, they're coming down. Real estate prices, gas prices, oil prices. All right, some parts of inflation are really coming down. All right. We looking good now. Okay. So overall inflation, right? Overall inflation is coming down. And specific parts of it, the reason is because specific parts of inflation, housing prices in terms of buy side, sell side, and oil prices / gas prices, those are coming down precipitously, as they would like to put it, right? I like that word, precipitously. Sounds like a fucking fairy made it. But look, it's coming down hardcore. It really is, right? It's coming down in a strong, meaningful way. Gas prices are at the lowest points of the year. And real estate prices, buy side, sell side, they're also basically at the lowest point of the year, right? Year to date. Just this year, okay? In this last 11-month period. It's basically, most real estate, properties are basically selling for the lowest valuation this year, right? So certain parts of inflation, yeah, that's true. It is coming down. And these, rate hikes are working. So they acknowledged that today and they said, that's good. So because certain parts of inflation are coming down precipitously, and because overall inflation is headed downward, right? Again, gas prices make up, I forgot what the number was, 30-40% of inflation is attributed to gas prices, because the higher gas prices are, the more money companies have to pay to ship everything from the Chinese manufacturers and ship them over there to the port of Hong Kong or wherever the fuck they ship them out of. And then they have to put it on a container ship or a freight ship, right? And they have to basically navigate the entire ship across the entire Pacific fucking Ocean, and they have to drop off the entire inventory at the port of LA, the port of Long Beach, the port of Miami, the port of New Jersey, the port of New York, right? And so they get those big ass cargo ships, and they basically drive them across the entire fucking ocean, and then from there they offload them at the docks, the port authorities, right? And then after that, the port authorities and all the port workers, they start offloading all of the big, freight containers or the cargo ships, right? And they start offloading all of that. and then they have to wait for the truck drivers to show up to the Port of Long Beach, Port of LA, Port of Miami. So all the truck drivers, domestically and nationwide, they drive over to the ports, they pick up the freight, the containers, right? They pick up the containers, put it all in the back of the truck. And then from there, they have to pay the truck driver the gas that they need so they can take the entire inventory load and they can drive it to Vegas, drive it to LA, drive it to San Diego, drive it to San Francisco, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, Wisconsin, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Vermont, Michigan, Ohio. They basically have to pick it up at the port and they have to drive it to wherever the destination is. Then they have to send it to a regional warehouse facility. And then the regional warehouse facility workers have to offload all of the inventory. They have to organize it. They have to stamp it. They have to scan it. They have to document it. They have to put it in the logbooks. Then they have to figure out which local, which local locations are going to get what and which ones need more supplies than the other ones. Then they have to get another truck driver to come in there, pick up a specific load that's meant for a specific location. Then they have to pay the gas for that truck driver to then pick it up at the regional or district or state, whatever they want to call it, the regional warehouse. They pick it up from there. And usually they either go to a local warehouse or they'll send it directly to your local neighborhood Walmart, local neighborhood Costco, local neighborhood CVS, wherever they're delivering it to. So by the time it goes from the manufacturing facility in China all the way to the ports of China, all the way across the entire Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, whatever fucking ocean, then they got to drop it off at the ports. The truck driver has to pick it up at the ports, take it to the regional warehouse. From the regional warehouse, 9 times out of 10, they got to send it to the local warehouse. From that warehouse, they have to figure out how much you need at the specific Walmart or that specific Costco, CVS, Target, whatever the fuck you go to, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. Then they got to fucking get another truck driver to pick up that load specific to that location. And then they have to set up the time so that way all the fucking, all the shelf boys that, the stock boys, the people that put all of the new inventory on the actual shelves, then they have to, make sure everyone's organized there and talk to the store manager or the site manager, whatever they want to call them. And then they have to set up, a time and date so they have enough staff to, offload the entire truck. Then they take it to your local Walmart. Everyone has to go offload the fucking truck. Then they have to organize it. Then they have to document everything again, scan everything again, put everything in the books again. Then they have to unwrap everything, put it on the fucking shelf, and then wait for your dumb ass to show up and pay for it. Well, guess what? If gas prices are going higher across America, like they did when Russia invaded Ukraine, and our solution was, we're not going to buy oil from you guys anymore because Putin's bad. Putin's a bad, bad boy. You're a bad boy, Mr. Putin. We're not going to do business with you anymore. Bad Putin, bad. And then Ukraine's like, that's not doing anything, my friends, America. We need you to come and help us. We need support. We need support. Please help us, America. They're killing us in Ukraine, our women, our children. Please save Ukraine. Stand with Ukraine, Mr. Biden, Mr. President. America, save me. We need you. Please send us support. We need support in Ukraine. And then our dumbasses looked at them and they looked at us, and then we looked at Putin and he looked at us, and we looked back at Ukraine and we're like, oh, you guys need support? I got you, dog. I got you. Here's some tanks. Here's some missiles. Here's some grenade launchers. Here's some AKs. Here's some AR-15s. Here's all the weapons you need. And then Ukraine looking at us like, but you are not going to help us? You will not fight side by side next to Ukraine? You will not send the troops? We need the army. We need the Marines. We need everyone. And we were like, nah, bro, you got this, dog. You don't need me. I'm just going to hold you back. You got this, dog. Si se puede. And then we basically told Ukraine, fuck off. I mean, we gave him a bunch of money. We gave him a bunch of weapons. We gave him a bunch of fucking shit, satellites and everything. And Elon Musk is helping him out there with fucking, SpaceX and Starlinks and giving him access to his satellites. And now everyone in Ukraine has free Wi-Fi. Good for them, But did we send any troops? No. Did we go to war with Russia? No. Did we, did we really do anything like physically? No. I mean, we sent them, some really encouraging, positive messages. You know what I mean? We believe in you. Keep going, guys. You know? And we told them, you know, stand strong. You know, everyone wanted to post their fucking memes online. Stand with Ukraine. But no one actually did anything. We just sent them a bunch of guns and grenades and some missiles and said, you know, we're rooting for you guys. We're rooting for you. You can do this. All right? We support you. Hearts and prayers. Okay? Our prayers go out to you guys. You can do this, you know? Meanwhile, Putin's over there like, bitch, if you send them another fucking missile one more fucking time, we're going to have some fucking issues. But anyways, neither here nor there. So the point was, our solution to Russia-Ukraine was to teach Russia a lesson, and we're not going to do business with Russia anymore. And we're not going to let American businesses do business with Russia anymore. And then Starbucks left the country, and McDonald's left the country, and Coca-Cola left the country, and everyone left the country, and nobody's doing business with Russia anymore. And now Russia's economy is tanking. It's coming to the ground. Not really, but I'll explain what's happening in Russia on another clip. But the point is, that was our message to Russia. We are not going to do business with you, and we are not going to buy oil from you anymore. Bad Putin. Bad Mr. Putin. Well, what ended up happening when we're no longer buying oil from Russia and we're not allowing domestic companies to pump out more oil, right? Because again, ExxonMobil says, hey, we can make more oil. You want more oil? Oil? Oh, we have a bunch of fucking oil. Oh, we love oil. Shit, you know, like oil companies, they love pumping out oil. But in return for pumping out oil, they want like 10-year, 20-year, 30-year permits that are going to be in place no matter who the next president is, whether Biden gets reelected or not, or it's DeSantis, or it's Trump, or it's Governor Newsom's bitch ass, or whoever ends up becoming, you know, the next president. And I hope it's not Newsom. My God, if you bitches elect Governor Newsom, I'm going to stop this podcast because I give up hope in America. If you stupid motherfuckers let the governor of the worst ran state in the country become president, I'm officially ending the podcast. I'm done with America. At that point, society's failed. That fucking state is such a piece of fucking trash in terms of how it's managed. I'm not talking about the people, even though half the people in California are bitches. Let's just call it what it is. Half the people in California are bitches. Even the people there tell me. The people in California tell me, bro, everyone out here is a loser or a fucking bitch, bro. Yeah, no shit, right? That's why I left. But point is, everyone in California tells me every day they hate the people there. The state is awesome. I love the beaches. I love the cities. I love the clubs. I love the food. I love this. I love that. I just don't like the people in California. Just a bunch of bitch ass motherfuckers. Losers, bro. Losers. Anyways, though, so, you know, if you let the governor of that state become president, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm packing up my shit. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. I'm done. Fuck that shit. But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter, you know, the point is they want like 10-year, 20-year, 30-year permits so they can dig up more oil and pump out more oil, which would make oil prices go lower, gas prices go lower. But in order to do that, they want all of these things and these certainties that if they start pumping oil today, you're not going to shut them down 2-3 years from now. And why is that important? Because oil companies, you know, regardless if you think they're evil or not, right? Dirty energy, regardless of what your opinion is on oil companies, the one thing nobody will ever say about oil companies is that they're stupid. Oil companies are not stupid. They might be evil. They might be corrupt. They might be in charge. You know, they might be, you know, hand in hand with Republicans and all this other bullshit. You can say whatever you want about oil companies. What you will not say is they're stupid, because they're not fucking stupid. And one of the things that oil companies know, and they know a lot of things, but one of the things that oil companies know is that Tesla is not going to stop. Elon Musk is not going to stop. The EV revolution is not going to stop. All these auto manufacturers shutting down their factories and building electric vehicle factories, that's not going to stop. And I think all of the oil companies at this point have just acknowledged that electric vehicles are the future, and it's probably going to happen sooner than people thought. You know, 2-3 years ago, electric vehicles were just like this really, like, you know, unique thing. And now 2-3 years later, it feels like you're starting to see more and more EVs everywhere. You know, I remember like 5-6 years ago, like you barely saw any Teslas on the road. Now 5, 6, 7 years later, it feels like they're fucking everywhere now. You know what I mean? Like there was once upon a time, like you would only see like one Tesla a week. Now it's like every time you get on the freeway, all you see is like 6, 7 Teslas. You know, so I think the oil companies have just acknowledged, right, reluctantly, that they were wrong about Tesla, they were wrong about Elon, and they were wrong about the EV revolution, and everything's going to go fully electric. And these oil companies, they know this, right? And so when they tell Biden, hey, we'll pump out more oil, just give us the permits. Oh, but by the way, when you give us the permit, we don't just want a 2 or 3 year permit. We want a 5 and 10 year permit. And everyone's like, nah, bro, because we're not going to need you that much longer. You know, by the end of the decade, oil is going to be obsolete in terms of consumer vehicles. Like, we'll still need you for other things, but, you know, you won't need as many gas stations in the future as you need now. What you're going to need in the future is charging stations, which is why I keep telling your dumbasses that investing in charging stations today is like investing in oil companies like 50, 60 years ago. Because there was a time in America where the only people who had cars were rich people. Everyone else had to fucking ride a horse or a wagon. And, you know, Elon's talked about this. He said back in the 1920s and 1930s, when cars, you know, first started getting produced and delivered in America, the only people who had electric vehicles, or the only people who had cars in America, were the ones who lived in the city. But eventually, as we started to make more roads and highways and freeways, more and more people felt more and more comfortable buying a car. And then all of a sudden it went from only people in the city had a car to now even the people in the country had a car. And then the next thing you know, you got pickup trucks. Then the next thing you know, all the Mexicans come over and now we got minivans. I'm just kidding. But, you know, we start to have more and more vehicles. And then all of a sudden it went from only rich people had cars to now fucking everyone has a car. Right? But Elon said, like, there was a point in America in the 1920s and 1930s, not everyone had a car. It was only for the rich. It was only for people who lived in the city boys, right? And then all of a sudden, by the time you got into the 1950s and 60s, everyone started having cars. Everyone started having trucks, right? And then by the time you got into the 70s, 80s, and 90s, everyone in America had a fucking car. And then we started to have buses for people who couldn't afford cars, right? But that was a transition period. It didn't happen overnight. And so, you know, he's saying people are going through that same transition process once again, but now when it comes to electric vehicles, where everyone has a car, but not everyone has an electric car. And a lot of people are starting to ask themselves, hey, is the next car we buy going to be electric, or do you want to buy a gas car again? Do you want to buy a hybrid? What do you want to do? And he's saying more and more people are opting in just to buy an electric car. Not because it's good for the environment. The fuck that. Fuck out of here with that. No one gives a fuck about the environment. Let's call it what it is, right? I mean, everyone talks about it. Global warming. Oh my God, climate change. But nobody really gives a fuck, right? People buy electric cars, particularly a Tesla, because it's good for their social status. The first thing people usually do when they buy a Tesla is what? Post it on Instagram. Why? Gotta look good for the hoes, right? Gotta stun on these bitches. So a lot of these people who buy electric cars, it's not because of the pinche environment. Fuck no. It's for the gram. It's for the hoes. It's so you can build your social status and you can feel better about your life and your life decisions so far. You know what I mean? So you can show people that you made it. Or you can pretend that you care about the environment. You really don't. I mean, motherfuckers are just trying to pull some ass. But, you know, let's call it what it is, right? So there are more and more people now making the decision that I'm going to buy an electric vehicle, right? So oil companies are aware of this. Again, they might be greedy, they might be corrupt, they might be in bed with Republicans, blah, 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 but they're not stupid. So they see this coming just like everyone else. So again, you know, they want like 10 and 20 year permits. They want like long-term contracts if they start pumping out oil. Because what they don't want to do is start pumping out oil and then 2 years later, you know, Biden or the next president after that comes out and be like, oh, never mind, I'm going to take your permits away and I'm going to revoke them. It's like, what the fuck? Because to like start pumping out more oil and building more pipelines and doing all this other shit that we need, that takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of time and resources. So if I'm going to make this kind of financial commitment and this kind of financial investment to keep drilling more oil and digging up more oil and building more pipelines and doing all this other shit, if I'm going to do that as an oil executive, as an oil CEO, I need guarantees that you're not going to revoke or take away my permits 2-3 years from now. Because then if that's the case, then all I'm doing is wasting my time, money, and energy, right? Like, fuck that. So with that being said, they want the administration to give them like these big ass 5, 10, 20-year contracts to make sure that if we start making this financial commitment and investing our resources, time and energy to, drilling more oil and pumping out more oil, we need guarantees that you're not going to revoke all of these fucking permits and licenses 2, 3 years from now as more and more people buy electric vehicles and they don't need as many gas stations. Again, am I saying gas stations are going to completely go away? No, I mean, there'll probably still be some here and there. But again, like if you look at everything that's happening in the world and everything that's happening in individual states like California and New York, it looks like everything has to basically be fully electric by the end of this decade. So again, I feel like investing in charging stations today is like investing in oil companies in the 1920s and 30s before, everyone started buying a car left and right. I feel like investing in charging stations today is like investing in a gas station before everyone in the community has a car. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of why I always say like when I make an investment, I'm trying to get in as early as possible and I'm trying to get in on the ground floor. So that way 5 years from now, we can ride that bitch up to the penthouse suite. Right? But in order to do that, I need to get in like in the fucking basement before anyone else is in. I want to get in early as fuck. Right? So same thing. That's why every time like you guys ask me like, damn, I can't believe General, you were investing in Tesla stock like 10 years ago in 2014. Yeah, it sounds really cool when I say it now, but 10 years ago when I was buying Tesla stock in 2014, 2015, 2016, like when I was doing it back then, everyone called me a dumbass and said that, Tesla's not that big of a deal. It's overrated. Elon's not even that smart. No one's going to buy electric cars. You can't even charge them anywhere. And then, what did Elon say? He said, that's fine. There's not a lot of charging stations today, but there will be, and we're not going to stop until we build more and more of them. Well, here we are 10 years later, and guess what he did? He built more fucking charging stations. Now I see those fucking Tesla charging stations everywhere. You guys see my point? So it's not about where the company is today. It's where the company is going to be 5 to 10 years from now. So everyone says, damn, can't believe you bought Tesla stock 10 years ago. It's like, yeah, but 10 years ago, like nobody even had a Tesla. Like Teslas were a fucking unicorn. Like you saw one, it was like looking at a fucking like a leprechaun. Like, oh look, there it is. You know what I mean? Like you don't really see them that often. But that's the point. Like everyone wants to get those like big ass gains, but nobody's willing to be patient. Nobody's willing to be committed. They think you're just gonna become a millionaire tomorrow. Like what the fuck? So as my tia Nena used to say, rest in peace, the fuck. So with that being said, going back to the oil companies, they need these assurances, they need these guarantees that they're not going to get all these permits and licenses revoked, and the administration is not going to do it. So what ended up happening? Gas prices started exploding because if we're not buying oil from Russia, if we're not buying oil from our own domestic suppliers, then where are we going to get that extra oil from? Well, two things. One, we started buying oil from Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and all these other bitch-ass countries that have nothing to do with America. And if anything, the only thing they're doing is pocketing the money. They're not giving it to their actual citizens, or they're giving that money to like terrorist organizations so they can continue to blow up trains all across Europe because apparently that's what they like to do. So we're giving it, to basically dirty-ass, corrupt-ass, bitch-ass other countries around the world with corrupt-ass governments that aren't actually helping their people. We're basically using what we have in our savings account, which is the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the SPR. A lot of you guys have been hearing a lot about it on the news. The only thing that is, the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, all that is just a big-ass savings account of oil, and we're only supposed to use it during a national emergency. Well, Biden basically declared this a national emergency and said it's a national emergency because we don't want to give these oil companies like a 10-year, 20-year contract because it's against what the administration stands for. The administration is all about the climate change and global warming and the environment and all this other bitch-ass shit no one really cares about. And it goes against, what they stand for and what their messaging is. So they're not going to give oil companies 10, 20-year contracts. The fuck out of here with that, right? Plus, they don't want to look weak in front of voters. So they're not going to buy it from domestic, suppliers. They're not going to buy it from Russia, and we don't want to buy it from China, right? So who else are we going to buy it from? We have to either buy it from the Saudis or we have to buy it from the Venezuelans, right? But we have to buy it from someone because if we don't buy it from them, what are we going to do? Oh, that's right. We're going to use our fucking savings account because it's a national emergency. And it doesn't really feel like a national emergency to me. It kind of feels like it's a decision we're choosing to make. Just because we don't like the decisions, just because we don't like the options that are on the table, doesn't mean it's an emergency. It just means that, We don't want to pick one of the options that's on the table. So we have options. We just don't like any of them. So we said, fuck that. And we're just going to tap into our piggy bank, which, by the way, is not going to last forever. But in the meantime, in between time, that's basically what the administration's been doing all year. They've been emptying and emptying and emptying the entire strategic petroleum reserve so we can lower gas prices here in America. And guess what? Gas prices are now at a 52-week low. And I know a lot of you guys are going to ask, but what happens when the savings account runs out, Miguel? That's the magic motherfucking question for another day. Because when that happens, my God, it is going to be fucking biblical. But anyways, we're not going to talk about that. No. What we're going to talk about is inflation is coming down because gas prices are coming down. And if gas prices are coming down, then all of a sudden things at Walmart and Target and Costco and CVS get cheaper. Why? Because now if gas prices are lower, I don't have to pay all these truck drivers that much money. Because again, when gas prices exploded and oil prices exploded earlier this year because of Russia, Ukraine, and our decision not to buy oil from Russia anymore, because bad Putin, bad. Hey, Ukraine, si se puede. Yeah, good luck, guys. Let's see how much longer you guys hold that line. But, the point is, when that happened, oil prices around the world started exploding and they started skyrocketing, everywhere. And, what we did to counteract that, because, we don't want to be dependent on Russia anymore. We don't want to give 10 and 20 and 30-year contracts to our own domestic oil producers. And we don't want to we don't want to buy too much from Saudi Arabia. And we don't want to buy too much from Venezuela, who doesn't even like us that much. So we're very limited on options. And so that's what we decided to do. We ended up breaking open the piggy bank, and we've just been, emptying the entire strategic petroleum reserve. It's not going to last forever. It's actually at the lowest levels in the last 100 years. So it's getting really, really low now. But, hey, gas prices are lower, guys. And because gas prices, are going lower, now all of a sudden it doesn't cost as much money to ship all of the stuff we make in China and ship it across the entire ocean and then tell the truck driver to pick it up at the ports, and then from the ports deliver it to the warehouse, and then from that warehouse deliver it to another warehouse, and then from the other warehouse deliver that to your local Walmart, Target, Costco, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Albertsons, wherever the fuck you go to buy your groceries, right? And, Food for Less, wherever the fuck they end up taking that shit. And there you go. But that's a lot of fucking miles driven. That's a lot of fucking transportation. That's a lot of transportation cost. That's a lot of fucking manpower, right? And all of it is basically powered by oil. So when oil prices are really high, what do you think companies do? Do you think they're just going to eat the loss and say, oh, well, we're not going to raise prices because we don't want to screw the consumer over. We know people are struggling and hurting right now, so we're just going to take the loss. You really think that's what companies are doing? Fuck no! You know the motto up in this motherfucker. It's called Boofu. Buy us, fuck you. So every time gas prices go higher, companies say, well, I guess prices go higher. Because we have to do what's best for our investors. We have to do what's best for our shareholders. We have to do what's best for me, right? And so what are we going to do to protect our profit margins? Well, if it costs more money now because gas prices are higher, then guess what we're going to do? We're going to charge more for everything that's in the store, right? Because we're not going to take the loss. Fuck that. You take the loss. You're the one that needs it, not me, And so now everything at Walmart gets more and more expensive. Everything at Costco gets more and more expensive. Everything at the 7-Eleven gets more and more expensive because now it costs more money to get it there to begin with, because it had to go from buttfuck China, Indonesia, South Korea, wherever the fuck it's made, right? They have to take it across the entire ocean. Then they have to drop it off at the ports, from the ports to the warehouse, from that warehouse to another warehouse, from that warehouse to probably another warehouse, and then from that location to your local fucking places that you buy your fucking goods from. Well, guess what? All of that requires gas. All of that requires oil. All of that requires manpower, And again, they're not going to eat the loss because their priority is, protecting their profit. Their priority is protecting their shareholders. Their priority is protecting their investors. Their priority is to protect their stock price. You know what I mean? Fuck you. You're just the fucking customer. You know what I mean? Right? Like, the only thing more important than the customer is who? The fucking investor. That's who. So with that being said, that was a huge part of inflation. But because the Biden administration started, emptying the entire strategic petroleum reserve for the last fucking year, well, guess what? They've been able to make sure that gas prices went lower and lower and lower and lower. Well, guess what? Now gas prices are at the lowest levels for the whole fucking year. Now, again, is that going to last forever? No. And guess what happens when they stop, when there's no more, when there's no more oil left in the bank account, And I'm not saying we're going to run out anytime soon, but the point is, like, we can't use it forever. So at some point, something's got to give. And when that fucking happens, wait till that fucking happens. But like I said, we won't talk about that on this clip. I just want to talk about what happened today. And what happened today is Jay Powell came out and said, look, us at the Federal Reserve, we acknowledge that, inflation, overall inflation is coming down. Some parts are coming down more than others, and other parts of inflation are still really high. But overall inflation is coming down. Why? Because overall inflation is impacted, heavily by oil prices, gas prices. That makes up a huge that's a huge contributor to how much things cost in the economy, right? Like a big part of why things cost so much in America is because of how much it costs to get it there to begin with. You guys see my point? So gas prices are a huge contributor to overall prices in the economy. It's a huge part of pricing in the economy. So with that being said, now that gas prices are at the lowest points of the year, well, guess what? Inflation has been coming down now because gas prices have coming down, which means transportation costs are going down, which means now a lot of these companies can afford to charge you a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less, right? And it makes it easier for average Americans, especially for those who have to commute to work. If you're a person that has to like drive an hour, every single day to get to work and then like an hour and a half, 2 hours to come home every day from work, the fact that gas prices are at the lowest levels of the year is probably having a huge boost to your disposable income and to your monthly budget right now. So overall inflation does look like, it has peaked and it's been coming down, and it's been coming down precipitously, for the last couple of months. And so the Fed acknowledged that. However, and this is where it gets good, the Fed comes out, America, and they said, but you know what? Yeah, oil prices, they're coming down. Gas prices coming down. All right. We're making some progress, right? Not, looking good. However, but other parts of inflation are still really high. Like what? Oh, these things called rent prices and these things called food prices. Food is really expensive. Rent is still really expensive. Now they acknowledge that rents are coming down a tiny bit, but they're basically saying rents are still astronomically so high that even though they've come down like 1 or 2%, that's not really enough to make an impact in anyone's like bank account or monthly budget. So like, for example, there were some houses in San Diego that were being rented out for like $3,000 a month. Now they're, up for listing for like $2,900 a month. Okay, that's great. You could, rent a nice house in San Diego for $3,000 a month, and now you can get the same house for $2,900. But is that $100 difference, like, is that really going to change anything? Like, is that extra $100 really like that significant? Where you're like, oh my God, babe, now we can finally afford to move out of our parents' house. Yay, we made it. Like, is the difference between $3,000 a month in rent and $2,900 a month in rent, is that really that big of a difference? Is that really going to be the difference between you moving out of your mom and dad's house or not? Is that $100 difference? Is that really the make or break? Not really. So that's why they're still saying like rent is still really high in this country. Now comes the real estate fucking bulls. And the real estate bulls are going to say, well, this is what we're talking about, General. This is what we talk about all the time. Miguel, the reason houses are so expensive is because there's no supply. There's just not enough supply, Miguel. And that's why houses are still so expensive. That's why sellers refuse to sell now, because they know there's not a lot of inventory. Inventory, Miguel, inventory. That's all they ever say. Inventory this, inventory that. Ya, cállate, wey. Shut the fuck up. I get it. You're not wrong. Real estate agents are right when they say this. Inventory levels are really low right now. There's just not a lot of inventory on the market, right? But at the same time, what did the Fed do? They fucking killed demand. And guess what they told you they were going to do all year? Kill demand. So there you go. There's a reason houses aren't fucking, going up in value as much as they used to. Because they killed demand. I feel a lot of real estate agents didn't think that was possible. Guess what? It was fucking possible. But guess what? We told you that back in April, May, June, July when nobody wanted to believe us. So anyways, though, Inventory levels are really low. And this goes back to what I was trying to reference at the beginning of the clip, that they're trying to kill inflation and they're raising interest rates 75 basis points, 75 basis points, 75 basis points, 75 basis points. But a lot of real estate bulls and a lot of oil bulls and a lot of like all these other like economists, they're basically saying you can raise interest rates all you want. It doesn't change the fact that we have more people in this country than we have houses available for them to live in. And that's kind of an issue right now. So you could keep raising interest rates over and over and over and over and over and over again, but it doesn't change the fact that we have more people in this country than we have houses available for them to live in. That's why when you look at a lot of like households, it's not just mom and dad that live in the house. It's mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, the fucking grandkids, the great grandkids, the great 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 grandkids, the nieces, the nephews. It's like 2 or 3 generations in every single house now. Some houses have like 4 generations that live inside of it, because it's the kids, it's the parents, the grandparents, and the great great grandparents. It's like, holy shit, Dios mío. You get like 3-4 generations in the house. Why? It's not just because, well, someone needs to take care of them. Nah, fuck that. That's not the reason. The reason is because they can't afford to live on their own because rent prices are so high. That's why everyone's doing generational living now, right? It's not because, oh, they just want to be close to their family. No, it's because they can't afford to live on their own even if they wanted to. Let's just fucking just admit the truth right now, America. So with that being said, we don't have enough houses. We don't have enough apartment complex. We don't have enough fucking space for people to live in this country. So a lot of the real estate bulls will say, if the Federal Reserve really wants to bring down rent prices, if the Federal Reserve really wants to bring down housing prices, if the Federal Reserve actually wants to fix the reason why everything continues to go up in terms of rent and housing costs, if they really wanted things to get better, you know what they would do? They would just build more fucking houses. How about that, America? How about they just build more fucking houses? Because if you built more houses and you built more apartment complexes, then that means there would be more places for people to choose from. Because now, instead of like me calling an apartment complex and them telling me that they don't have any available units, now if they just built more fucking apartment complexes and they built more fucking houses, now I have options. And because I have options, now the landlord can't just increase my rent $300 a year. Now all of a sudden the houses aren't going up 20-30% a fucking year. Why? Because now I have options, which means if you're increasing it too much, then I'll just leave and I'll pick this other alternative option that's going to be cheaper for me. So it makes it harder for landlords to increase the rent as much as they are, and it makes it, harder for houses to appreciate in value as much as they did if you just bring on more inventory onto the market by building more homes. Because whether someone buys in it and lives in it, or if someone buys it and just rents it out, it basically puts more inventory on the market either way. So it doesn't matter if that person who buys the house is going to live in it or rent it out. Either way, you're bringing more supply on the market. And that's how you can, I don't want to say take down real estate inflation, but that's how you could taper it, right? Because now all of a sudden it's really hard for a landlord to say, I'm going to increase your rent next year by $500, bro, because I fucking can, because I know you ain't got no options. It makes it harder for a landlord to do some bitch ass shit like that. Because if the landlord tries to do that and there's 5 other houses that are open for rent in your neighborhood, then you could be like, well, fuck that. You're trying to charge me how much next year? $2,000, $3,000, $4,000? There's a house across the street that's renting out for $1,500. I'll just move over there. Fuck you. I don't need you, bro. I got options. You know what I mean? And so a lot of the economists and a lot of the bulls will say, if the Federal Reserve really wanted to fix real estate inflation, as they call it, they would just build more houses. Because again, it doesn't matter if the guy who buys it ends up living in it or he just rents it out. Either way, someone's going to live in it. Whether it's the person who buys it or if they rent it out and it's the tenant that ends up moving in. Someone's going to live in that house, which means you're putting more supply on the market. But no, the Federal Reserve doesn't want to do that. The Federal Reserve would rather just make it harder to get approved for a home loan. But when the Federal Reserve raises mortgage rates as much as they have and make it harder for people to get approved for a home loan, well then guess what happens? Now all of a sudden everyone has to stay at home with their mom and dad. They have to move in with their in-laws, or they basically have to stay in the house that they're renting. Well, guess who ends up benefiting the most in that environment? It's the landlord, because now the landlord says, oh, well, you're saying you don't qualify for a home loan anymore? Oh, so you're saying you don't have any options anymore? Oh, so what you're saying is you're probably going to have to stay no matter what? Oh, well, I was going to increase your rent 200 next year, but now that I know you ain't got no options, I'm going to increase your rent by motherfucking 300 next year. Do something, bitch. Oh, you can't, because you ain't got no options. You guys see where I'm going with this? So, that's a huge thing right now. So yeah, look, is overall inflation coming down? Yeah, yesterday the CPI numbers, the inflation report came out, and it came back lower than expected. Inflation is coming down. But what part of inflation? Mostly gas prices are coming down, right? But again, are they really coming down because we're pumping out more oil, or are they coming out because we're just emptying our entire savings account of oil? We're just emptying the savings account. It's just like Black Friday. You guys remember last week or 2 weeks ago? I got mad on the podcast and I was screaming at the top of my lungs that the average American is in a recession, which, by the way, is only getting worse. And then the Black Friday numbers came out, and Amazon and Walmart said it was like the biggest Black Friday ever, and it was the best Cyber Monday ever. And then all these little bitches try to email me and blow me up. You see, General, you see, it's not that bad, General. Look, Amazon said it's the biggest Black Friday ever, and Walmart said Cyber Monday was amazing, Miguel. It was so amazing. There's no slowdown, there's no recession, there's no crash. It's not like 2008, 2009. It's not that bad, Miguel. It's just a correction. It's just a slowdown, Miguel. And I'm like, why? Because Black Friday numbers were amazing. Okay, well, let me put this in perspective. Last year, half of all Black Friday shopping was done on debit card. The other half was done on credit card. This Black Friday / Cyber Monday, 80% of all Black Friday shopping was done on fucking credit cards. You see, last year in 2021 and the year before that in 2020, the reason Americans didn't have to use their credit cards to go shopping on Black Friday and Cyber Monday was because last year everyone was getting this thing called child tax credits. And what a child tax credit was, for all you people who are single with no kids, don't remember, was the child tax credit was basically giving all these fucking couples an extra $200 to $300 a month for all their fucking oopsie babies that they accidentally have. I know. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just be real. The only reason you fucking have those kids is because you were too lazy to pull out because it felt too good, bro. I fucked up, dog. I fucked up. Yeah, anyways. So a lot of these people that have all these kids, again, doesn't mean you don't love them, but they were getting an extra $200-300 for all their kids. You know what I mean? Just for fucking having kids. That's it. To fight inflation, even though it just made inflation worse. No big deal. So, everyone was, using like their debit cards and their checking accounts and savings account last year and 2020, because you guys got to remember 2020, that was the year of boosted unemployment, where all these bitch-ass motherfuckers were out here collecting boosted unemployment, even though they weren't even looking for a job. There was a lot of people that just claimed boosted unemployment, even though they were never looking for work. And guess what? They got it. They got approved. Well, guess what? Now the government's coming back, and they said, we want all that shit back, bitch. So, I hope you used it wisely. I hope you invested it. I hope you did something with it, because now the government's coming and they want all that money back. And now they're hiring 80,000 IRS agents and they're trying to figure out what you did with all your stimulus. Go fucking figure, right? Go fucking figure. Anyways, though, yeah, so the last 2 years, a lot of Black Friday and Cyber Monday shopping, the reason people didn't have to use credit cards was because they were getting all that stimulus. They were getting all that boosted unemployment. And then you had like the state stimulus, like, bitch ass states like California, here we go again, that wants to print out more stimulus than the entire fucking country combined. I mean, California stays printing stimulus, right? And so you have the federal government sending out stimulus checks. You had the states like Governor Newsom sending out stimulus checks. And then Uncle Biden got elected and he sent out more stimulus checks. And then everyone got the child tax credit checks. And, for 2 years, the reason credit card spending was like at the lowest levels wasn't because American consumers were saving more money throughout the year. It's because they were getting paid more money throughout the year, and they were getting paid every single month just for fucking having kids. They were getting paid every single month just because they lost their job, quote unquote. The fuck out of here. Most of those people weren't even looking for a job, but all they had to do was just apply for, unemployment, and they got fucking accepted for it. So, the point of the story is the last 2 years, credit card spending was low and people were actually paying off their credit cards and fixing their bitch ass credit scores, because they were getting all that free stimulus. They were getting all that free money. They were getting all that boosted unemployment. But guess what happened at the beginning of 2021? That shit was fucking dead and gone. We buried that bitch. Now there is no more boosted unemployment. There is no more child tax credit. There is no more stimulus unless you live in bitch ass California. So basically all that money's basically gone forever. It's never going to come back ever again, right? And so guess what? Now here we are in the middle of a recession for average Americans, 80% who live paycheck to paycheck, right? And we get the data from Black Friday and Cyber Monday this year. And what did the data said? That almost 80% of everything that was bought on Black Friday and Cyber Monday was bought using a fucking credit card. And now this is the highest amount of credit card debt we've ever had in American history. Let me say that one more fucking time because I need you guys to pay attention to this. We have over $1 trillion in American credit card debt. This is the highest level of credit card debt in American history. So take that. And then let me tell you that the layoffs are just beginning. The job cuts are just beginning. That the recession is just beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, I keep saying it on every single podcast I record for the last 6 months. We are nowhere near the bottom. We are nowhere near the end. And in my opinion, we're not even at the halfway point. To me, we don't get to the halfway point until the Federal Reserve officially announces that they're no longer going to be raising interest rates anymore. When they actually announce and say we will stop raising interest rates, that is when we will hit the halfway point. The reason that's the halfway point is because they also said when we do pause and we stop whooping your ass with more and more interest rate hikes, which again, don't solve the root cause of inflation because you're not pumping out more oil, you're not building more houses, so you're not actually solving anything, you're just making everyone's lives worse. But when we do stop these ass whoopings that aren't solving anything, once we do that, it's not like we're going to start dropping interest rate weeks, or it's not like they're going to start dropping interest rates the very next month or the very next week. What they're saying is we're going to jack up interest rates higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And when we eventually end up stop raising interest rates, we're going to leave interest rates at a high level for probably 6 to 12 months. And then after we leave interest rates at a high, ridiculous, unsustainable, stupid-ass level for 6 to 12 months, then maybe, just maybe, we'll start to lower interest rates then. Meanwhile, bears like me are like, bro, if that's your game plan, you're going to send us into a recession. Now, again, I told you this in April. I told you this in May. I told you this in June. I told you this in July. And the bitch-ass bulls didn't want to listen. They actually think that all of this is going to go down and somehow everyone's going to make it out alive. Somehow everyone's going to make it out fine. Somehow everything's going to be A-okay. Somehow it's going to be fucking rainbows and unicorns. Somehow everything's going to just be okay. The fuck out of here. You know what I mean? And so to me, because I know that they're going to, in my opinion, continue to raise interest rates, again, acknowledging that it actually doesn't solve anything, it just makes things worse, but they think that's going to be the solution to all their problems. Okay, let's see how that goes. But they're going to continue to raise interest rates more and more and more, and then eventually, when they do stop raising interest rates, whether it's February, whether it's March, May, April, May, June, July, whenever it is, eventually when they stop with these non-stop stupid-ass fucking interest rate hikes, which, trust me, I'm a bear, but at the same time, I got a fucking brain. I know that this shit's not actually doing anything, right? If you want to do something, build more houses. You want to do something, pump more oil. You want to do something, fix the supply chain issues, right? But we can't because the Federal Reserve doesn't have the power to open up Keystone. He doesn't have the power to tell Biden to buy oil from American oil companies. He doesn't have the power to stop buying oil from Saudi Arabia. He doesn't have the power to stop buying oil from Venezuela. He doesn't have the power to tell Putin to stop killing Ukrainians, right? He doesn't have the power to tell China to stop doing stupid-ass lockdowns just because COVID's going back up. Bro, COVID's never going away. Get the fuck over it. Stop locking down your country. That's stupid as fuck. You're not actually solving anything. You're actually making it worse from your people. Get the fuck over it, right? It's crazy like how fucking overreacting they act to fucking COVID in China. But the point is, The Federal Reserve doesn't have the power to tell President Xi in China that he's stupid and he's a dumbass and he needs to stop doing lockdowns. They don't have the authority or the power to stop anything that's going on in China. They don't have the power to tell Putin to stop invading Ukraine. They don't have the power to tell Biden to open up, the pipelines here or do this or do that. They don't have any of that power. The only thing they know how to do is raise interest rates because that's the only thing they know how to do. Great. But what does interest rates really do? What does raising interest rates really accomplish in the economy? Excuse me. You know what it does? It just takes away jobs. That's all it does. Raising interest rates, at the most simple way to understand it is raising interest rates. All it does is make more people unemployed. All it does is make more people get laid off. All it does is force companies to lay off more employees. That's really all it does at the end of the day. And you're going to say, but Miguel, why would they do that? Why would they take away everyone's jobs? Why would they hurt people like that, Miguel? Why would they do that to us? Easy. Oh, rent prices are going up? Oh, well, the landlord can't raise your rent if you don't have a job. Oh, houses are going up too much in value? Oh, well, people don't have to worry about buying a home if they don't have a job. Oh, gas prices are really expensive because everyone needs gas to go to work? Oh, well, you don't have to worry about filling up your gas tank to go to work if you don't have a job. And I know, you guys are going to be like, bro, are you serious? That's stupid as fuck. I know it's stupid as fuck. Did I tell you, am I here to tell you the way the world should be, or am I here to tell you the way the world motherfucking is? Because interest rates, ladies and gentlemen, and I've told you this in April, and I told you this in May, and I told you this in June, and I told you this in July, all summer long when you bitches were telling me it's not that bad, Miguel, it's not that bad. It's just a slowdown. It's not going to be that bad. And I'm like, okay, bitches. Watch when wave 3 of the recession happens, and guess what? It happened. Then I told you, watch when wave 4 of the recession happens. Here we are in the middle of wave 4, going into the end of wave 4. And now here we are. We're going into the 5th and final wave 5 of the recession. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you guys have been blowing me up and asking me for this clip and asking, if when it's going to come out. I'm going to release wave 5, Welcome to the Gates of Hell. And it's going to come out, and it's going to come out in the first week of January. It's probably the most anticipated clip in the history of the podcast. I've never had a clip that has been requested as much as this clip is being requested. It is the most anticipated clip in the history of Magallon Entertainment. By far, by none. Everyone is blowing me the fuck up every day, asking me when wave 5 of the recession is going to get released. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, either late December, I'm probably going to do it late December, right after Christmas. I want you guys to enjoy your, bitch ass holidays and enjoy all these fucking overpriced presents that everyone bought you with their stupid ass credit cards. And I want you guys to sing Kumbaya, and I want you guys to give each other hugs and kisses. And I want you guys to tell each other how much you love them and how much you miss them and how much you're happy to see them. Because ladies and gentlemen, when we go into next year and we begin our descent into wave 5 of the recession, welcome to the gates of hell. Ladies and gentlemen, I swear to God with every bone in my fucking body, when we enter wave 5 of this recession, it will be nothing but death, destruction, mayhem, murder, anarchy, chaos, and fucking death. You guys think you've seen a lot of fucking layoffs now. You guys haven't fucking seen anything yet. You guys think you guys have seen a lot of job cuts now. You guys ain't seen a fucking thing yet. You guys think you've seen pain in the economy now. You guys haven't seen a fucking thing. Wait till you see what happens next. So, ladies and gentlemen, I told you guys were going to see nationwide layoffs in September. You didn't believe me. Guess what? It fucking happened. Then I told you guys you were going to see nationwide layoffs in November. And you said, no way. Nobody would ever lay off their employees before the holidays. You know how bad that looks for on a company if they lay off everyone before the holidays? You know how bad it makes them look, General? Do you know how bad that looks for PR? There's no way all these companies are going to lay off all these people right before the holidays. Yes, the fuck they did, didn't they, America? And you saw it all over the news. Amazon delivery drivers getting laid off just 2 weeks before Christmas. Oh my God, what is going on? Oh my God, Tim, what do you think? And guess what we saw? UPS, FedEx, Amazon. Well, like every fucking company was announcing all these fucking layoffs literally like a month before Christmas. Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking kidding me, America? That's fucking insane. I wish somebody had told me this was going to happen before it happened. I wish there was somebody there to fucking tell me and warn me. that this was about to happen in this economy. So I told you layoffs were going to happen in September. I told you even more layoffs was going to happen in November. And now I'm here to tell you one more motherfucking time, America. Starting in December, you are going to see a gigantic, massive fucking wave of layoffs starting in January and February of next year. I don't want this to happen, but this isn't about the way the world should be. This is about the way the world fucking is. Ladies and gentlemen, January and February, you are going to see a gigantic, massive tsunami of fucking layoffs nationwide. And there is nothing anyone can do to stop it because these companies already made their decision 3 months ago. They're just deciding to wait until after the holidays before they execute this next wave of nationwide layoffs. And I think this next wave of nationwide layoffs is going to be the biggest, most excruciatingly painful, most insane wave of nationwide layoffs you have ever fucking seen since the great financial crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, wave 5 of the recession is coming. Wave 5 of the recession is upon us. Wave 5 of the recession is almost here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to walk through the gates of fucking hell, and we are going to descend into the pits of this fucking recession. Ladies and gentlemen, it's fucking happening. Meanwhile, at the Federal Reserve, I just got done listening to Jay Powell in the Federal Reserve, and what did they say? They said we're going to continue to raise interest rates next year. It might not be 75, 75, 75 anymore. It might be 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 moving forward. But they're not going to stop raising interest rates anytime soon. They don't want to stop raising interest rates anytime soon. Because these motherfuckers actually think that the reason inflation is coming down is because they keep raising fucking interest rates. Meanwhile, everyone else out there with at least half a brain cell is screaming at the top of their lungs to stop raising fucking interest rates because it's not fucking helping. And I think that's why you get people like Elon Musk that came out this morning and said the recession that's going to happen next year is going to be amplified and magnified because of the interest rate hike that they did today and the interest rate hikes that they plan on continuing to do into next year. You have people like Jeff Bezos, no big deal, second richest man in the world, comes out, founder, former CEO of Amazon, kind of a big deal, kind of a smart person, probably knows more about the economy than every professor in the world combined. He's pretty fucking smart when you're the CEO of Amazon for that long. Yeah, that motherfucker comes out and says Americans need to start being careful with their money and they need to start tightening down the hatchet because it's about to get bad. Then you got the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, just the CEO of one of the biggest banks of America. Most of you guys have heard of Chase. Most of you guys have a bank account with Chase. They're kind of important. They're kind of smart too when it comes to money. The CEO of Chase says, we expect an economic hurricane to happen and touch down in the first half of 2023. That's pretty interesting. First half of 2023. Kind of like I said, wave 5 of the fucking recession. Welcome to the gates of fucking hell. Then you got the CEO of Bank of America. You have the CEO of Wells Fargo come out, and they basically agree with the CEO of Chase, and they both acknowledge, yeah, we're going to have a recession, and it's going to hit home in the first 6 months of next year. Should we be worried? Oh, no. Most high-income Americans are going to be fine. The people that make like $500,000 a year type shit, they should be fine. They'll be okay. I mean, they'll probably be in some pain for a couple of months, but, most of them will make it out alive. And then I'm over here, I'm like, what about the people that don't make $500,000 a year? What about the people that don't even make $100,000 a year? What about the people that just make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year? Are they going to be fine? Are they going to be okay? Oh, we don't talk about them. We don't like talking about poor people. Because when it comes to times like these, what do we always know? Ladies and gentlemen, every recession in American history is different, but every recession in American history also has similarities. And the 3 similarities that I like to point out on this podcast that every recession in American history has in common is 1, who gets hit first? Rich people or poor people? Poor people. Who gets hit the hardest? Rich people or poor people? Poor people. And who makes it out alive last? Rich people or poor people? Poor people. So, ladies and gentlemen, every recession in American history is different. This isn't 2008, 2009. This isn't 2001, 2002. This isn't 85, 86, 87. This isn't 36, 37. Every recession in American history is different, but all of them have similarities. And the similarities is you see savings account plummet, you see credit card spending explode, you see poor people get hit first, you see poor people get hit the hardest, and you see poor people make it out last. Ladies and gentlemen, American credit cards are over $1 trillion. American savings accounts are at the lowest level since 2008, 2009. The amount of equity being pulled out of homes by homeowners is at the highest level since 2008, 2009. The amount of credit card applications happening right now, highest level since 2008, 2009. The amount of repos happening in this country because people can't even afford to make their car payments on time anymore, highest level since 2008, 2009. People who are late on credit card payments and student loan payments and all these other type of payments, highest level since 2008, 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, every recession is different, but it feels like every recession is the same. It's always filled with pain, chaos, destruction, anarchy, and fucking destruction. Ladies and gentlemen, we are nowhere near the bottom. We are nowhere near the end. And in my opinion, we're not even at the fucking halfway point yet. You're going to see more interest rate hikes next year. And then you're going to see more again. And then you're going to see more again. And then you're going to see more again. And the bulls will tell you that this isn't helping the process, that this isn't making things better, that if they wanted to make things better, they should just print more oil or build more houses or do this and do that. But at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve can't do any of it because they don't have control over any of it. The only thing they know how to do is take more jobs away. Because you don't have to worry about the price of a house. You don't have to worry about the price of rent. You don't have to worry about the price of gas when you don't have a fucking job. Ladies and gentlemen, the pain is fucking here. The pain is fucking everywhere. I see it every time I go to Costco. I see it every time I go to Walmart. I see it every time me and my wife go out to dinner. We go out to dinner, we go out to lunch, and we look around, and guess what we see? Restaurants are empty. Drive-thrus are empty. Grocery stores are packed. Ladies and gentlemen, people are getting annihilated. People are getting destroyed. People are feeling the fucking pain. And the Federal Reserve is not even at the halfway point. They aren't even getting close to the halfway point. They are nowhere near fucking done. There is no fucking pause. There is no fucking pivot. There is only more murder, more mayhem, more death, and more destruction. Ladies and gentlemen, wave 5, gates of fucking hell is upon us. And I say this with every bone in my body. You need to fucking be prepared. So once again, like I've been saying for the last 6 months, and 6 months ago people didn't want to believe me because they said it's not that bad, even though the only reason they were surviving was because they were maxing out their credit cards and pulling out loans. 3 months ago I told you nationwide layoffs. 2 months ago I told you even more nationwide layoffs. Now I'm here telling you again the same messages, hoping that you guys just fucking listen to me more and more. So I'll say this one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, for the love of God, please, as your fucking general, please, my soldiers listening to me right now, 100,000 subscribers across the country and around the fucking world, please, for the love of fucking God, please, stop spending your money on stupid fucking shit! Save your money. Fix your credit. Start buying investments. Stop spending money on stupid shit. Stop spending money on stupid people. Stop spending your time with toxic people. Start investing, start saving, and start getting ready. Because all of you believe you have job security until your bitch-ass supervisor tells you they need to speak to you in their office. And then you fucking wake up and realize you don't have job security. You never have. You just thought you fucking did. Ladies and gentlemen, wave 5 of the recession is upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for fucking war. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the one, the only, the motherfucking general. Magallon! Entertain!
mercy on me, have mercy on my soul. Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on me, have mercy on my soul. Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on many men, many, 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 many men. Wish that upon me, yeah, I don't cry no more. I don't look to the sky no more, cause I got it on me. I got it on me. I got it on me. You can run up if you want.
Fuck is you talking about? Look, it's possible niggas know me. Keep 2 fours like I'm Kobe. As you riding or you hiding, if you sliding and you owe me. Run up, catch cold feet. Niggas act like they call police. I don't make friends, yeah, I make bids. Want some ring bids, want some OG. This AR be my trophy. Shoot first, niggas shoot back. Oh, nah, niggas woo back. Nigga automatic with a woo clap. Shoot first, niggas shoot back. Oh, nah, niggas woo back. Nigga automatic with a woo clap.
Have mercy on me, have mercy on my soul. Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on me, have mercy on my soul. Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on many men, many, 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 many men. Wish that for me, yeah, I don't cry no more. I don't look to the sky no more, cause I got it on me. I got it on me. I got it on me. You can run up if you want.
50 shots up in his back, I won't let her. HD niggas pouring Beretta. Shoot first and do yourself a favor. Report like I'm Craig Sager. Back out niggas in with the bluffing. Dread bull niggas shoot you for nothing. Take toes on your block like I'm drumming. SK, I have a blicky spot.
Smoke.
It's that nigga from the floor, shit bitch right back. And I don't politic, cause niggas ain't like that. I drop a slip or two and get a light pack. And I don't care if you lose and still
have mercy
fight back.
on me, have mercy on my soul. Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on me, have mercy on my soul. Don't let my heart turn cold. Have mercy on many men, many, 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 many men. Wish that for me, yeah, I don't cry no more. I don't look to the sky no more, cause I got it on me. I got it on me. I got it on me. You can run up if you want.